So it's good to see there's a bunch of life coming back to my yard. We've got nice green grass and ducks coming in to eat it, and the horses and alpacas are all well fed. The neighbours' chickens, they're coming out for a day trip, and yeah, there's all sorts of wonderful little pieces of wildlife wandering around on my lawn at the moment. It's very good. I'm happy. I'm a happy chappy. However, I'm not a super duper happy chappy with my Side Shot magazine at the moment. I don't think there's too much to it. I think I just need to fiddle around with the spring pressure, but it seems like the spring has sort of gone a bit slack over the last couple of weeks of using it, and it doesn't want to turn the inside part of the magazine, so I'm going to have to pull it apart, clean it, and then try a few different spring tensions. But it's such a nice day, it's hot but it's nice, that I can't be bothered doing that. I don't feel like fixing anything today, so I'm going to put my 30 cal barrel on and use the Calm magazine that I've got. Darko sent me a 30 caliber Calm magazine at my request. They're quite affordable. They're not expensive magazines or anything like that, but they are great because they protect your pellets really well, and they're reliable, which is the most important thing. So simple is good. But yeah, that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to bust out the old Impact, rip off the 25 and throw the 30 cal barrel on, and run it through the chrony just to see what it does, because I'm not going to change the tune or anything. I'm just going to straight up shoot it how it is. I don't really care if it's not optimal. I just kind of want to have some fun. So I'm going to go down to the range, shoot some groups, shoot some other fun stuff. So yeah. It's way too hot in there. But interesting things happen when you have 73 cc's of plenum to play with. So my Impact is currently tuned for 25 cal King Heavy Mark IIs, the 34 grain JSB, at about 900 feet per second, 120 bar on the reg pressure, and a fair amount of hammer spring gap. So not much hammer spring at all. But weirdly enough, even with a 600mm barrel, it seems to perform very well with the 30 cal barrel on it. So let's have a look at the results. On max power, it gave me, without changing any tunes at all, mind you, this is all just, I just took the barrel off and put the 30 cal barrel on and shot it through the chrony. An average speed of 874 feet per second, and an extreme spread of 13 feet per second, and a standard deviation of just a smidge under 4. So that is weirdly good. Apparently it's really easy to tune a gun if it has a big plenum, so get a bigger plenum. And on the minimum setting, which is primarily what I use around my house, just to keep the noise down and to avoid the risk of over-penetrating whatever I'm shooting at and causing problems, I've got an average of 734 with a extreme spread of 25 and a standard deviation of just under 7. So that's not ideal, but it's also still very, very usable. So that should be quite accurate. I often find that you can actually get away with a fair amount of extreme spread and still have an accurate gun. While it's not optimal, it's still very usable. So that's great. I'm really happy with that. That makes my life very easy. Let's go shoot some stuff. You'll have to forgive the red tinge. I'm under my little canopy again today, trying to stay out of the sun. Don't want to get horrifically burned before I even kick off a new week. So yes, I reckon we'll start off with some 25 meter zero and see how loud it is and see how it goes. I have to say, loading this Calm magazine is probably the easiest magazine on the market that there is to load. You just sort of push one in, spin it around and push the next one in, and it just works. It's wonderful. You don't have to preload any springs or anything, you just sort of do it. I like it a lot. Alright, so here we are at 25 metres. That's not a great grip at 25 metres, but that was on minimum power. So I zeroed first, that's 3 shots there, and then wound the wrong way. This time I wound the wrong way with elevation instead of windage, so yeah, I'm still an idiot. It's wonderful how you can see all that daylight and colour through there. When you look through the scope, you just see these gigantic 1/3 of an inch sized holes. It's ridiculous. But yeah, they seem to be stacking all right, but not perfect. Whatever. Might shoot a couple more groups on these smaller ones up here and see if a smaller target helps. Looks kind of funny with that little skinny barrel on the end. Bit of a weird looking thing. I'm using FX Boss. What do we got? 46.3 grain pellets. I thought these were the 44 grain JSBs just relabeled, but I guess if they're 46.3 they're a little bit of something else. Hope this comes up all right. Let's see if we can see that. That's what leads me to believe that they might not be rebranded JSBs. I don't think I've ever had a deformed skirt in a tin of JSB pellets, so maybe these maybe they've just had a hard life, or they're not quite as upmarket as the JSBs are. I don't know. They seem to shoot pretty good, but yeah, they're not JSBs. Tell you what, that really is wonderful to shoot. It's like on that low power setting, it just cracks away and it's really nice and quiet. There's no heavy echo or anything bouncing around off the trees, and it's just sort of, it feels like I could just sit down here and shoot all day and no one would care. It's wonderful, and it's very accurate too. So this is my group here. It's one big hole really when you look at it, but yeah, good enough. It's about a fingertip, not a fingernail, but a fingertip, and you can see a fair amount of daylight when you look through it. I'm a newfound fan of 30 cal. It's just great fun. And you'll see these two other shots here, this one and this one. There was either a little spider or a fly or something, and I decided to see if I could hit him. And I hit him on the first one, and it fell down and landed here, and then I hit him again on the second one and finished the job. So, dead fly. Dead fly is a good fly. Shall we shoot something that explodes now? I think so. Oh no! We're about to run out of batteries. First one on the right. Wonderful. Excellent. Excellent. Well, you'll have to forgive the audio from here on in. I've left my other camera batteries up there, so I'm on my high-speed cam, and it only has like a little tiny microphone that sort of picks up everything, especially the wind noise. So yes, but we've made a right royal mess of this. That was fun. Well, now that we've got that out of our system, I reckon we might step it back to 50 metres and see how it goes. Probably do a couple of groups on low power and then maybe one group on full power, depending on how loud it is. I suspect full power might be a little bit too loud, so we may have to cut that away. I'm enjoying this. It's not a good thing that I'm enjoying this, because it means that I'm probably gonna have to buy a 30 cal barrel that's 700 mil long, because this would be even quieter with a longer barrel, and this playlist isn't called the Quiet Rifle for nothing. So expensive thoughts. Not particularly impressive. That's probably, I don't know, 2 inches at 50 metres, so not stellar work. The shots felt pretty good. I had a few little hang-ups at the magazine, so I'm not 100% sure what's going on, but if it's happening with more than one type of magazine, I'm guessing it could be something that I've done to the gun. Maybe I've taken something slightly out of adjustment, so I'll have to see how things go with that. But yeah, definitely a no-go on the accuracy here with the old 750 feet per second tune at 50 metres. Yes, not worth it. Let's crank it up to max and see how good that goes. Didn't look very good through the scope. Always forget how good the dynamic range is on a Sony camera. This makes the day look so nice. Look at that sky. Wonderful. Right, so I was aiming down here and we're landing up here. So yes, not a terrible group, but also not a good group. So leads me to believe that if I was gonna leave this barrel on my gun for any great length of time, I would have to do a bit of harmonic tuning, I think, and try and sort of drive it up, drive it down a couple of feet per second here or there, and see how that goes. Maybe even switch to a different pellet, because those pellets with the deformed base, I don't know, I'm skeptical. This is sort of a little bit out of my realm of acceptability for as far as pellet performance goes. I'm a pretty flexible dude. I'm not really a bench rest shooter or anything. I'm happy with anything under half an inch. So like at 50 meters, if I can get them all sort of within the red square, that's good enough for me. That means I can have fun on the range. But this is just a little bit too inconsistent. So it's either the tune or the pellets, and just by looking at the pellets, you can sort of tell that they're definitely part of the problem. Definitely does make me consider getting a longer 30 cal barrel though. I reckon a nice quiet 30 cal, moving slowly, probably gonna move less in the wind than a 25 moving slowly. What do you reckon? Leave a comment down below and tell me what you think. I don't know. Whatever it is, I'm having fun. So I did some doodling and I found that the pellet probe retention, the little carrier, had come loose. So I'm just going to add this in post-production and show you what I did. Right, so here's the gun, all degassed and safe and stripped down to the part that I needed. Had to take the scope off, the scope rail, the cheek piece, and this the top piece there to get at this rail here. So this is the screw in question. It come loose and allowed the pellet probe to sort of jingle up and down and get a fair bit of movement in it. And I figured that out by watching as it comes through. It makes a bit of contact before it steps up into the actual muzzle, or the breech rather. So tighten that bad boy up, put a bit of Loctite on it so it doesn't come out again. I'm using blue Loctite, just in case you do need to remove it again for some reason. The blue stuff is removable. Use blue or green, just don't use red. And also keep an eye on your pellet probe retention screw inside that little block there, because that comes loose as well if you're not careful, and it can let your pellet probe jiggle up and down. So tighten that one, tighten the one on the top, and then close her on up. And last but not least, you have to check the gap, like so. Use your little depth gauge, and you want to feel out until you get to 45 millimeters, and then you're in the right spot. So if that comes loose, it can give you dramas with your magazines and with opening and closing the action. So double check that. You can actually access it just by removing the cheek piece and then moving the cocking handle to align it with the access hole on top of the flat top piece. But if you do want to adjust the position of the carrier when the bolt is fully closed at 45 millimeters, you will need to take the whole thing off and adjust it by adding or removing a twist to that thread. So there you have it. Two possible causes of magazine issues if you are experiencing any stoppages with your FX. My side shot magazine was skipping past, like the inner wheel was skipping past the outer wheel, and that was causing it to lose a wrap of spring tension, and then it didn't have enough juice to overcome the friction of the other pellets in the magazine. So, oh, March flies. Big evil fly trying to drink my blood. So yeah, the side shot magazine has gone back to the distributor to get looked at, fixed, replaced, whatever, under warranty. Hopefully it's something simple. It might be like an O-ring or something in there that's flogged out, that's causing the actual inner wheel to be off kilter or something, I don't know. Not really 100% sure how it's all supposed to look when it goes back in together, so it is what it is. But yeah, and if you have any issues with your pellet probe not feeding properly, just check the retention screw, the small one that holds the pellet probe in, that you would undo to swap it for a different caliber. And also take your cheek piece off, check the top retention screw, make sure you put a little bit of Loctite on it, because there's no reason for that to be loose. You kind of want that to be pretty well solid all the time. There's no reason to be changing that out. So yeah, blue Loctite is good. And that should solve most of the feeding issues if you have any. So happy days. If you enjoyed the video, gently smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.